Alright, so markets tried to find direction yesterday, but honestly, they couldn't quite make up their mind. Hey everyone, it's Saturday morning, April 11th, and welcome back to Capital Markets Quickie. I'm your host, Endrit Sella, here to break down yesterday's market action in just 2 minutes. Quick note before we dive in. Today's episode is brought to you by AMF Capital Asset Management Frankfurt. Learn more about our funds and strategies at amf-capital.de. Alright, let's get started. So let's break it down. Yesterday, U.S. equities were pretty mixed across the board. The tech-heavy Nasdaq was slightly in the green, up around 0.2%, while the Dow Jones actually slipped about 0.5%. Meanwhile, the Standard & Poor's 500 edged lower by roughly 0.1%. Now, the reason behind this kind of hesitant market behavior? Well, a lot of it comes down to geopolitics and inflation. Investors were basically sitting on their hands ahead of those weekend talks between the U.S. and Iran. There's still a very fragile ceasefire in place, and markets are trying to figure out whether this could actually turn into something more stable or not. At the same time, we got fresh inflation data out of the US yesterday, and let's just say, it didn't look great. Headline inflation for March jumped to 3.3% year over year, which is a pretty sharp move higher. On a monthly basis, prices increased by 0.9%. That's the biggest jump we've seen since 2022. And the main driver here? Energy. Gas prices have surged significantly since the start of the conflict, and that's clearly feeding through into broader inflation. Now, if you zoom out a bit, there is at least some positive momentum in the background. The Dow Jones actually moved back into positive territory for the year the day before, which is interesting. The Nasdaq and the Standard & Poor's 500, on the other hand, are still down slightly, just under 1% year to date. And here's a small but interesting detail. The Standard & Poor's 500 was also on track to post its first positive Friday since late February. So yeah, a bit of a sentiment shift there, at least technically. Looking ahead, all eyes are now on those Iran-US talks happening over the weekend. President Trump has been pushing Iran to lift its blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, but so far, there's been little progress. And as long as that key energy route remains disrupted, markets will stay sensitive, especially on the inflation side. So, a lot of moving pieces right now: geopolitics, inflation, energy, and markets just waiting for clarity. Alright, that's it for today's Capital Markets Quickie. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe and stay in the loop. And if you want more insights, just add me on LinkedIn. Always happy to connect. See you Monday morning.